Okay, welcome everyone. We have an amazing show today. Welcome to the Adult Gymnastics podcast, the only podcast where we focus 100% on you, the incredible adult gymnasts all over the world with your amazing stories. We are joined here today with Stacey Tiro, also known as the Geriatric Gymnast, and we are so excited to talk with her and learn learn her story, everything that she's doing in the gymnastics world and beyond. I am accompanied this morning by my co-host Jenny. Thank you very much. Good morning. It's great to be here with you guys.
Good morning. So excited about this.
All right. All right, Stacey, tell us briefly about your gymnastics life because we know you didn't do this as a kid, do it your whole life and everything. Tell us about when you started and why. Most importantly, why you started.
So, I was 36. I had my two girls. My oldest was about 6. My youngest was about 2, 2.5. And no, she was just turning 2 actually. And she was in the baby carrier and everything. And I wanted to, figure out an activity for my older child. So I was like, oh, gymnastics. Everybody does gymnastics. Great. So I brought her and I kept like sitting there with my other daughter in a little chair. And I was like, oh my God, I wanna bounce. I wanna try a
Looks
handstand.
so
I wanna do
fun.
all this stuff. This is so cool. I'm a dance teacher. I was
Yeah.
born and raised a dancer, actor, all that stuff. And I went into teaching after, a couple of years after college. And I loved, the Olympics. I loved watching gymnastics. And, I was like, oh God, wouldn't that be really great? So fast forward, I think it was 2008. And I saw this and I asked the owner of the gym, like, do you teach adults? Is this a thing? And I was firmly expecting to hear, yeah, no, sorry. And he was like, well, we do teach adults, but we're thinking about getting a class together in January. So, you know, stay tuned. And that January, he started a class and I was like, okay, great. And it was like joining this cult. It was like the adult cult.
Of course.
I
We joke
trained.
about that all the time
Yes, yes, it's
at
true,
the
it's true.
retreats.
It's universal.
Yeah.
I trained on Sunday mornings because it was like the only time I could,
Yeah.
get time for myself. I had 2 young kids.
Yeah.
And from that point forward, like I got onto the trampoline, started bouncing and got this, high feeling.
Oh.
I eventually at one point I was doing like a front handspring off of the 6-foot tower. And I was like, this frightens me, but I am so jazzed up about it. So, years pass and I'm gaining more skills and I get some injuries and, all
Of
that
course.
stuff. Um, and I like meet this unbelievably supportive and embracing community of adults who some were older than
Mm.
me, some were younger than me, all these different stories. And like they would coach me, when the coach, didn't have time for us, they were my coaches, they were my teachers. And I had some like really important mentors that kind of ushered me into this experience. And it really informed like who I am now and how I approach ushering in new people. I'm always like, people like, can I do it? I was like, yes, 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 you can. You have to be careful. You have to be mindful. You have to be really smart about it. But you can absolutely do it. And if
Mm.
you're around me, I can definitely help you. Um, so
I
yeah,
love
that's kind of the beginning.
Love
I
it.
love that you mentioned that, yeah, that you had those people because um one of the things, and I've mentioned this before on talking with someone else, but one of the things I've seen going into this space is like people get excited about it. Like you said, like you're like, could I do it? People get excited about it. They find out about a class or a gym, and then they go, and it's it's hard to get into it if there's not like that mentor, if there's not a group of supportive people there. And a lot of the gyms offer like sort of like an open gym, which is great, they're offering it, but it's so good that you had those like people that were, willing to take the time to help you. And I think as the space grows and grows, and as the gyms, get more comfortable with hosting these, classes, there will be more of that. So yeah, that's awesome that you had that.
Yeah, so my now home gym, which is different than where I started, is Flippers Gymnastics, and we're in Ramsey, New Jersey. And Debbie, who's the owner, she's a dear friend of mine, and she was one of the people who I would flip with kind of periodically. She would go like during the week, and I was there, so we would cross paths once in a while. And eventually, at one point, she said that she was thinking of like starting her own gym. I was like, "Oh my God, that's huge! Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy!" But okay, great. So 2017, I thought it was 2017 or 2019. She opened her doors, and that gym, like the old gym, like they were sort of shutting down, and she was like, 5 minutes from my house. I was like,
Amazing.
I'm in, like, I'm so in. And so I've been at Flippers this whole time. And then, fast forward a couple more years, and our coach, who, had young kids of her own, um, she wasn't going to coach anymore. And it was like either somebody picks up the job or adult gymnastics is done. So Debbie was like, "Do you want to coach?" I was like, uh. So, but, I kind of went back to that like communal coaching concept, where like everybody's kind of helping everybody else. I was like, I think I can
Yeah.
give pretty solid advice. I mean, I'm not gonna, teach somebody how to do a round up back handspring, but like people who are just coming in, who are looking, I can identify stuff and I can help. I mean, I'm a teacher, so like that's
Yeah.
kind of what I do. And so we wound up, my friend Tammy and I wound up picking up the Sunday class. We kind of like co-coached that. And I started my own class on Thursdays for fundamentals and
Oh,
mobility. Because I was like, we don't have anything for people who are just walking in for the first
so
time.
important. Yeah.
So, and then there's like the Tuesday night class, and that's the more advanced class. So it's just like we have started to grow this adult program, where adults can come in and feel like they can own this thing, this gymnastics thing.
Yeah, there's
So
kind of the
beautiful.
foundations, and yeah, that's great.
I
Amazing. So
love
you're
it.
coaching now, you're training yourself. Do you train while you coach a little bit as well? Like, is
Yeah, it's kind of like the Thursdays I kind of more in the coaching role, but I do a lot of demonstration, and I don't love spotting, on my
Mhm.
shoulders, on my back, whatever.
Yeah.
But if I need to spot, I can spot. Um the Tuesday nights is like that's the class that I take
Yeah.
because my friend Michael, he's the coach, and so I get to kind of do more of a workout. And the Sunday morning class with Tammy, it's like, okay, is somebody new coming in? Because I really, really want to work, okay, somebody's all
Yeah.
right. So now I'm going to coach, so we kind of like go back and forth, and we
Yeah.
address the needs that are there. And if everybody's good, then we're like, okay, great. We're now going to work on our back tucks or, whatever.
nice. That's one thing we've seen, Jenny, at our classes,
Mhm.
because Jenny and I we train at the same gym. I'm Jenny's coach, or well, I
Yeah.
was, but that's one of the things. It's just such a great community. Like everyone's willing to help. Everyone's willing to coach each other and give little tips. And yeah, that's one of the great things about this community. Um, Stacey, I saw you now for a long time online, and then we got to meet at the
Exactly.
NAIGC Masters meet in
Yeah.
Boston.
Yeah.
That was so fun. So, how many meets now have you competed in? Have you done like a ton of meets? Are you yeah? Talk to us a little bit about how you kind of got into the competitions and
Yeah.
what's next as far as competitions and all
Sure.
that.
Sure.
And
Well,
I also want to have everyone know that she created her own Leo with her brand on it. And I want to hear about this too.
okay. Okay.
Very
Okay.
important.
So much to talk about. Okay. So the Masters competition in Cambridge was my second meet ever.
No way.
Yeah. My
And
first
Okay,
this went
okay,
for the World
okay.
Cup.
Yeah, my first meet was in February. In fact, I signed up for Masters first,
Right.
and
Yes, yes,
then
yes.
Amazing.
Let's say it.
Going for it.
okay. So, and the story is well documented on the website. We'll talk about that too.
Yes, I
But
remember actually. Yeah, leading up to it,
yeah,
there was like, okay, work. Yeah. All right.
yeah. So I had resisted the idea of competing. I was like, I'm not competing. I'm a recreational gymnast. I don't want anything to do with that. Whatever. And my one of my flippy friends, Lisette and Tammy, they had both competed the last season, and they were like getting everything ready. I was like, "Oh, you guys are doing great." But like I didn't have a floor routine. I didn't have any routines whatsoever. My bars, I could do like three skills on bars, comfortably. And
Back hip circle. I remember watching your back hip circle videos, the progressions.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And they're hard. They're
So
hard to pick up
cool.
as an adult. Like all of
They
them hard to pick
are.
up as an adult.
Going backwards on a bar is terrifying.
It's insane. The whole thing is
It's a
insane. I'm
weird
like,
feeling.
what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing this for?
Yeah.
But in the fall, at one point I was, doing a bunch of the bar skills that I could do. And one of the girls goes, and that's your XL silver routine. I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, those are the 4 skills. You need those. And that's your routine. I was like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, you could do it. And I was like,
Oh.
so I started really thinking about it. And in November, I started like getting onto the floor and saying, well, and I also remember a year and a half before that, I had ruptured my Achilles tendon on the tumble track. So
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like, round off landings. Like I was doing a round off back handspring and I had done like 3 or 4 of them. Everything was fine. And like on the 5th one, it snapped. And I was like, what happened here? I thought I like bumped into something. So there was like, it's like a year or whatever of recovery. That's also well documented.
Yes.
And so I'm like, I'm still afraid to do a round off back handspring on the tumble track because I've now hurt myself twice on that thing. And I'm like, what? I don't need to do this to injure myself. I'm not competing. So competition was very much like not on the table for me. But after the bars thing, I was like, well, if I'm going to do bars, I'm just going to try everything. So I started working on handspring vaults and the a little floor routine. I was like, okay, do I have enough skills? I can get the XL silver thing, across the board. And I wound up like putting 4 routines together that worked. So I was like, all right. So I signed up for the masters in January. And but that was like in May. And I was like, I feel like I need to do one more thing. Maybe that's closer. So I found the Red Hawk Classic, which is in Meadowlands Gymnastics Academy, which is like half an hour from my house. I was like, all right, that will be my entry into it. And of course, it's me and my couple of flippy friends. And then like all these 20-year-olds, from the colleges. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm just here. This is my fun. I'm doing this for fun. So that experience was really great. And then I was like, okay. And so I was able to kind of tweak my routines for the masters. I added the mill circle in just because you needed 6 skills. I was like, I don't have 6 skills. Oh my God. But yeah, I figured it out and we did the masters meet and it was just the most incredible, eye-opening, heart fluttery experience that I've had in a very long time.
Yes, I will bounce off that. That was my first adult competition. That was my first competition in since 2016. Basically, the Rio Olympic test event in 2016. I didn't know that I even wanted to compete as an adult. I didn't really know. I was just going there really to cheer on our friends there, like Sophia and the Boston crew there. And I was in Delaware at the time. And I'm like, I'll just come up and cheer, And then I'm like, wait a minute. Like, if I'm going there, like, I might as well put on a suit, borrow some grips. And so, yeah, I will also say, like, I had so much fun at that meet, like, way more than I expected. The community, and I was able to even, after I competed, I was helping other gymnasts, like even like spotting some vaults, and just it was so good. And so
Mary, you spotted Mary Bonig, who Mary Bonig on floor. She was doing her round off back tuck.
Yes,
and she had just like started getting that in practice.
She didn't need me. She didn't need me at all. But I was.
You see that emotional support spot sometimes. I'm like, do you need emotional support spot? Yes.
It was also so cool to see, like, because I had been, we've been in this space now, but it's mostly been online or at the retreats. It's never been in a meet setting. So to go to the meet and just meet like all these people, see, people that I've seen on, online and stuff. So It was so cool. It was so cool. I loved being there, and
Yeah.
yeah, I I
So
I wait for the next one.
to tie in, because Jenny had asked about the leotard, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that ties directly into Mary. So Mary, I think I met on the Facebook adult gymnastics group, like Fine
Mhm.
Wine. Okay,
Mhm.
and we would like comment on each other's posts, and it was fine. And she started showing pictures of these leotards that she made for herself because she just does that because she has a sewing machine and she can just do that. And they're
Cool.
sparkly, and I love sparkly, all that
Of
stuff.
course.
So, I commented on one of her posts because she had like shown all of the different leotards that she had created. And so I messaged her privately. I was like, you want to make me a leotard? I was like, you could do my new logo. Cause I had just like created the geriatric gymnast logo. And, she's like, yeah, what's your size? I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, really? I was really just joking, but okay. So we kind of went back
Not
and
joking.
forth.
You weren't
You're not.
joking.
This is the
I
most
was
important part of gymnastics is your Leo.
I was
Let's
hopeful.
be
I was
real.
very hopeful, but I'm not gonna,
Yeah, yeah.
put somebody out of their way. And she couldn't have been more kind, more graceful, and more interested in like doing it. So I sent her the logo and she like sent me, the swatches of the fabric and like all the stuff that she was thinking of.
The magic of
And
the adult gymnastics
it
community.
is. It so is. Like these people are just the most incredible people I think I've ever
Oh,
ran into. And
absolutely.
I'm in education. I deal with teachers. Like I know good people. And
Yeah.
this is like a whole other level of
Uh,
connection. Because we're all like in it for the same reasons ultimately. Like,
it gives me chills thinking about this because I have a
yeah,
million stories I could say about it. It's been the
yeah,
best thing my whole life is being
yeah.
part of this community.
I know. And that's
It's my
why
best
like I
therapy.
even with all the injuries that I've, dealt with, like I'm like, okay, when's the next time I come back to the gym? Can I do my upper body workout? Can I, like
Yeah.
I just want to be in this space, in this air. Because it makes me feel like me. And I know a lot of people feel the same way.
Yes. Oh,
Powerful right there. That's really powerful.
absolutely.
Make you feel like you. That's great.
And that's a
Stacey,
big thing to say, though. I was going to say it's because sometimes when you have your kids and you have your career and you're just running in a million different directions and you're doing all this stuff for your kids and your job and you're a teacher, so you're around kids all day and everything. And to get back to just you as you in your most like powerful, elevated, and empowered form, it's the most incredible feeling of all time. Yeah. So reach
Indeed.
that.
And that, there's different parts of us that are expressed in different ways. And,
Totally.
my teacher self is a like a huge, huge part of that. But
So
I feel
amazing.
like this geriatric gymnast, adult gymnast piece keeps growing, that it keeps breathing life. And that's why I wanted to start the website.
Huh.
It's like not to sell anything or anything like that, but it's just like I know that I have a specific niche of experience. A lot of people started when they were younger and then like they left it and they came back to it. And so they had that background. I want to sort of direct this towards them because, they're restarting in their adult body, which is a very different
Hmm.
thing. But
Totally.
I also want to connect with people who have never done this before. People like me who like always watched it from the sidelines, never imagined that we could actually, be a part of it or get good at it. And
Yeah.
I'm 54. I started at 36 and the stuff that I'm doing now, I would never have dreamed of when I first started.
Mhm. Yeah.
So we are able to learn, we are able to transform our brains and our bodies. It's just you need to be ushered in, and that community that we were talking about, that is the reason that I can do what I can do now. And so I feel like there's a pay it forward feeling,
Yeah.
why I created the website because 'cause I'm like, I have all these stories, like, people need to, like, hear this and see this and
Yeah.
read this, and how do I deal with injury, and how do I deal with perimenopause in this space, and, how do I deal with lizard brain, which is like that feeling in the back of your head that you're like, "Oh my god, I can't," but, like, you can mitigate that, you can work with that to do those hard things that are just scary. They're just scary. So
And that's the whole reason we started this podcast too, because we want to share your story to show to maybe someone's listening thinking like, maybe should I start gymnastics? No way. I'm 40 years old. I can't do that. No way. And then they hear your story and they're like, well, I don't know. Stacey did it. Maybe I could too. And then maybe it gets them a little bit closer to going to that first class. Like we talked to this amazing man, Kyle, yesterday, and then he is in the UK. He started when he was an adult. He's 6'2". He never did anything as a kid. And then he's like the like UK champion for his level after just 2 years doing gymnastics. But it's just these amazing stories that we heard on like all of our retreats. And we're like, we have to get these stories out into the world just to show that like maybe it gets one more person doing gymnastics and they have that feeling of walking to the gym after such a stressful day and they have all their friends there and everyone's like pumped that they're there and they're moving their bodies and feeling good. And it's the best medicine ever. Like
100%.
the best antidepressant is going to adult gymnastics.
It's true. Like,
And your friends.
I used to feel that way more about, teaching, and I'm a dance teacher. So like you go in like heavy or tired or whatever, you teach your first class. It's like, okay, I can deal with the world. It's the same thing. And, adults, we either train, first thing early in the morning on a weekend or late at night. And you're like, I just worked a whole day. I'm hot. I'm exhausted. I want to go on the couch and sleep. No, let me just go. I'll step in the door and see what happens. And then like an hour and a half later, you're like, I'm ready for the world. Let's go.
Yes. When I'm driving home at like midnight often from practice, I'm like, that was so worth it.
Yeah.
And it's blizzarding. And I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's so cold. Well, just wear 7 layers. Okay. We'll
okay.
peel them off as we go.
Yeah. I just needed it. Amazing.
Stacey, tell us about you're also an author. You've published and written some books.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. Any future books coming out? Any projects you're working on for the future that you want to share with people or let people know about?
Sure.
Yeah. So, I've always loved writing. It's just been a kind of part of my expression. And in 2016, one of my students was like, Mrs. Terry, you should really write a book, like a memoir. So I started doing that and I kind of got into this like writing thing. And then when the pandemic, we were all sitting behind a computer screen just like this and doing everything. I was like, all right, I got to blog about all this stuff. And I had done a blog post about I'm a gymnastics addict. That was like back in 2020. I posted that. And I just really love this whole blogging thing and writing thing. And I wrote these 2 books. First, How Do We Feel Right Now? This is actually a play that surrounds the George Floyd murder and the community responses. So that was more like a cultivating all these different responses that were happening around me and putting it into like a play format. And then my thespian troupe actually performed it virtually. It was like a really great experience. Ronnie Sunu is a tribute to my mom who passed in September of 2020. And I had the fortunate the good fortune to be able to sit with her like the last week of her life and interview her. And it was like she would answer when she could. And I was like, click, 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 click.
Wow.
And so that book is like my tribute to the incredible person that she was and how she taught me through just her life. So now with this whole geriatric gymnast thing, I had so many different blog posts and so many different things to write about. I did like a dump. I took all of my blogs and I just dumped it into a Word document. And I was like, how can I make this into something like a book that people could like look at? And so it's like part just sharing of experience, sharing my history. And originally I didn't have the competition stuff in it at all. It's like, but I think that's an important like end cap to this whole experience, never wanting to compete into like, okay, my first competition. Dealing with all the injuries that I've been dealing with being Gen X and like trying to live and breathe in this space. And then like some of the coaching tips, some of the importance, what's the importance of fundamentals? What does that look like? How do we do that in our bodies? So I just kind of wanted to have all of this stuff in a coherent, book. So the book is basically done. I did a round of queries. I sent it to 80 different uh, um, agents, literary agents, and I didn't get any bites on it. So, it's kind of like deciding, am I going to continue to pursue the agent route, or am I just going to do the self-published like I did these things? So I'm getting ready to retire next year from my teaching job,
Nice.
and
Congrats.
thank you. And so that I don't want to rush anything. The stories are the stories. The information is good and it's timeless. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to push anything now. I'm not ready. Like we're not ready for this quite yet. But
Mhm.
when the time comes and I can put like my 100%, it's right there, and it's called Geriatric Gymnastics: Flipping Recovery and Defining Life on My Terms. Um,
Love that. Love that
yeah,
name.
We
yeah.
cannot wait to promote that. We will definitely be sharing it on our Instagram and
Great.
everywhere else we can
Thank
because we
you.
need everyone to hear those stories.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or you come
Yeah.
to a retreat and we do a reading. We do a reading
Let's
of it
do
or
it.
something. In
Let's
one
go
of our
like France
retreats,
on the beach and do that reading or
yeah,
something. There you
that'd be
go.
amazing.
in Malta we had
Bully.
Stephen Bully, who has like a little documentary about his gymnastics, the great British gymnast, and then we brought him and yeah, we watched his little documentary, and yeah, it was cool. So we could do a reading of your book as well sometime.
Let's do it.
That might be a lot of fun.
But definitely will be.
Right?
All right,
Yeah.
Stacey, we just have like one more minute left. What is like a final thing you want to share with people to get them to come to gymnastics? Like a
Yeah.
final bit of encouragement.
If you've ever thought about it, if your heart is saying, I want to try, try. Like the worst that happens is you realize you don't like it and you don't do it. But if you've always wanted to try it, go find a gym that teaches adults. Go find a coach that will like take on an adult who understands the adult brain and the body because it's very different than the kids. Very
Very
different.
different.
Um, but and start to put yourself into that community because as soon as you do, if it's really a thing for you, you're gonna feel embraced and you're gonna want to keep doing it. You're gonna want to keep coming back.
Mhm. I love
Love
it.
it.
It's so beautiful. Stacey, we've loved chatting with you. I feel like I could chat with you for 15 more hours, but we have to like
Listen,
go
I could
about our
talk about
days and
gymnastics
stuff.
all day long.
I know. We totally could. This is wonderful. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you
on the
for
show.
having me. This is what a wonderful idea that this is to get these stories out. Because I think with adults, like we don't jump on things because it's too hard. Our lives are too hard, and the fact that we have people that you are taking these voices and promoting them out into the world. Hopefully, we will continue to grow this gymnastics community for adults. Thank you.
100%. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. And with stories like yours, and you're right, that's what we want to do, promote this and grow it. And so thank you again. We are yeah, so lucky to have people like you that are dedicated to growing as well and just sharing your story. So thank you, Stacey.
My
We
pleasure.
wish you
Thank
all the
you.
best luck in all your future training and competitions, and we'll see you at the next competition
That's
or
right.
any other thing like that. So
I'm in.
awesome.
So much. All right. Podcast is done.